Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is beginning his first full day of his second term in office today. In a speech yesterday, he said that Florida is, quote, where woke goes to die. Some have interpreted his remarks as being made with an eye on the 2024 presidential election. He was just one of several governors sworn into office yesterday. CBS News political director Finn Gomez is in Washington with more on this. Finn, Happy New Year, my brother. Good to see you. Let us start with Governor DeSantis. What does his legislative agenda tell us about his political agenda and ambitions?
Yeah, Vlad, it's really interesting because DeSantis kicked off his inaugural address yesterday really with, as you said, an eye on 2024. The Florida governor, who has become a darling of the right and is now considering this White House run, focused more on national issues in his speech than just Florida-centric ones. So issues that are important to the Republican base, not just in Florida, but across the country. And it really sounded to me like a potential blueprint for a White House run. And I think DeSantis and his organizers were really trying to give a presidential vibe. He called Florida a, quote, refuge of sanity and criticized what he called a floundering federal establishment in Washington, D.C. And he really targeted national issues that the Republican base have been really focused on, including the inflation, the federal response to the COVID-19, and the crisis at the southern border. These are all frequent targets by Republicans against Biden, though he never directly mentioned the president's name. He also never named the former president, Donald Trump. They were once close allies. The former president, of course, jumped into the presidential fray just after the midterms, and most polls show those two are the leading Republicans atop of the potential presidential heap. And DeSantis, talking to Republicans, he is expected to jump in later this year. And so I think there's no doubt that he is eyeing that 2024 race. And I think what he said yesterday and really focused on that, on the national perspective, and not really on the details of his agenda coming up, shows that his focus is on this White House bid.
So
potential White House bid.
Let us head a little further north, Finn,
Sure.
And head to Michigan. During her swearing-in remarks, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer promised to work across the aisle. As a Democratic leader in a swing state, how is she trying to appeal to Republicans?
Yeah, Whitmer directly named the two Republican new leaders in the state House and Senate, which was something that she's really been trying to do more, is to reach out to the opposition. And Whitmer has really risen to the national stage for winning in this battleground state of Michigan, and is seen by many Democratic Party strategists that I've spoken to as a rising star with really a national trajectory. And as you mentioned, she was just sworn in, and she said her focus will be on getting things done, including in reducing gun violence in the state, investing in education, tackling climate change, and lowering taxes for retirees. But she's really looking to, have this olive branch out to Republicans there, with, again, with a lot of national interests coming her way from within the Democratic Party.
Kathy Hochul was sworn in Sunday. She is the first woman elected governor of the state of New York. Let's talk about the significance.
Yeah, Vlad, she is the first woman to become governor elected in the Empire State. She became governor after Andrew Cuomo, of course, stepped down amid scandal. She said in her address that she was not trying to make history, but make a difference. But her win did have a historical difference, an historical impact as the first woman elected to governor in the Empire State. And of course, she is also the bigger narrative also, by the way, is the fact that 2022 saw a record-breaking year for female gubernatorial candidates across the country. 12 women will be serving as governors in 2023, both Republicans and Democrats. So a banner year.
Yeah, including in Arizona, which we haven't spoken about in a while. But people may or may not be surprised that Kari Lake has not conceded yet. They've already sworn in. I think, have they already sworn in Governor Katie Hobbs, right, today? So Kari Lake, she's suing. The lawsuit was thrown out. She says she's going to file an appeal. What is going on there?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Katie Hobbs, the Democrat, was sworn in as the new governor of Arizona. But Kari Lake has continued her litigious actions against the results of the 2022 gubernatorial election. Lake, who was a MAGA star and backed by Donald Trump, sued in November after she lost to Hobbs. She was claiming widespread fraud, pointing to defective ballot printers at some polling places in Maricopa County, which is the largest county in Arizona. But an Arizona judge, as you mentioned, threw out that lawsuit, said there was lacking clear and convincing evidence. But she has appealed to the state's appellate court and also filed a separate motion to transfer the appeal to Arizona State Supreme Court. We have not heard yet if that's, and it's unclear if they're going to take up this case. But again, the fact of the matter is that Hobbs was sworn in as Arizona's new governor just a few days ago, and it's just highly unlikely that these appeals will change any of that.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.